Greetings to everyone out there in the No DQ galaxy. Welcome to the No DQ review of WWE Monday Night Raw, the Go Home edition for this Sunday's pay-per-view Survivor Series, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. We had lots of interactions between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT on this show. Several matches interrupted, several non-finishes, lots of build-up. We had some Lana and much more. So let's go ahead and get started with the recap. Shout out to everyone in the chat room for watching live, and a big thanks to everyone out there watching this, whether it's live or on demand. If you enjoyed the video, please click on that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications to get updates, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. All right, Monday Night Raw opened with the usual entrance and pyro. We had Becky Lynch come out. She referred to Shayna Baszler and Bayley, her opponents for this Sunday, as little snakes, and she called them out to come face her in the ring. She said she felt like fighting. She brought up how they're in Boston, and Irish people in Boston love to fight. That's when we had the Iconics come out. Remember them? Remember the Iconics? Oh, I remember. Former women's tag team champions. Iconics were mad about being left off of the Survivor Series team. This led to a tag team match play as Charlotte came out. She was Becky's partner. She is still confused why she's teaming up with Becky. She really doesn't want to, but the forces have led them together. Then we had Samoa Joe randomly come out in a suit. He still has a cast on his thumb, still recovering from injury. Samoa Joe did commentary for the entire show. Still no Dio Madden, who I guess is still recovering from the Brock Lesnar beatdown. Samoa Joe even mentioned on commentary how WWE needs somebody out there who is Brock-proof. Not exactly Samoa Joe, but he did come close. We'll just pretend that Brock did not beat Samoa Joe. But anyways, we had the tag team match. Charlotte got on the figure 8 and Becky hit the Bexploder, and that led to the victory for Charlotte and Becky Lynch. No surprise here. Shayna Baszler's horsewomen showed up and attacked the Iconics after the match. Becky and Charlotte went back into the ring to fight. However, there was a numbers advantage. The fight continued, though. Becky and Charlotte kept fighting back. They fought in the crowd, and then Becky hauled off and took a page out of Nia Jax's playbook by punching out the security guard. And this was your big opening segment for Raw to set up the women's triple threat at Survivor Series and also the women's Survivor Series match itself, which Charlotte is the team captain for. Mike Hunt, with a $5 super chat, thank you for that, Mike, says, watched all of 10 minutes today. This is just awful. Just reaffirmed why I don't bother much anymore. Massive sigh. Yeah, I'm not sure what to tell you, Mike. If you're not a big fan of what's going on right now, I would advise waiting until the Royal Rumble, because things usually pick up by the Royal Rumble. Even though I do like the Survivor Series concept and the teams going at it, the problem with this show and the last few years really is that WWE follows the same formula with building up Survivor Series. And it lacks creativity, although you could say the same thing about the Royal Rumble. But I feel like from the Rumble to Mania, WWE usually kicks it into high gear. So I don't know what else to say to you, Mike. You know, if you're not a fan of it right now, it's probably not going to get better anytime over the next several weeks at least. We had Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder cut a promo, and I believe they were going to be facing... I'm not even sure. I thought they were going to be facing the Viking Raiders, but I could be wrong on that. I think that was what was being advertised. I'm not sure. But anyways, Hawkins and Ryder were cutting this promo, and they were interrupted by AOPP. AOPP attacked them, and I think that was the last we saw of AOPP on this show. Moving on here, we had the OC come out. AJ Styles talked on the mic, said he would love to defend his United States Championship against Humberto. However, Humberto disrespected him by beating him, I guess. And then Carl Anderson said he was going to beat the crap out of Humberto. And then Luke Gallows said Humberto is going to be taught a lesson. At some point, Luke Gallows referred to Carl Anderson as a hot Carl. Look that up on Google if you dare. So we had this match between Carl Anderson and Humberto. AJ Styles and Luke Gallows were trying to interfere, and that's when the Street Profits came out to even the odds. During this match, the crowd cared so much about this that they started chanting CM Punk, which I think we knew that this was going to happen when CM Punk made his return on WWE Backstage. Just when you thought the CM Punk chants were starting to die down, here they come again. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, what will it take for you to stop calling them AOPP? Nothing, because I will always think of them as AOPP. WWE ruined that act by doing that storyline last year. Like, I haven't really cared about AOPP since. So as far as I'm concerned, they will be AOPP. It's like when Lance Storm was labeled boring, like it killed his career. Or when Terry Taylor started having the rooster haircut, like it was a career killer. AOPP, as far as I'm concerned, they're never going to shake it. And Caitlin is here in the chat room. Bask in her glory. So anyways, OC tried to cause another distraction, and that's when you had Anderson get an inside cradle on Humberto, but then one of the Street Profits reversed the inside cradle, and that led to Humberto picking up the victory. Then we had a Seth Rollins promo. Seth talked about how he's been in WWE for 7 years. This was his anniversary, actually anniversary of The Shield debuting at the 2012 Survivor Series. He said he plans to lead by example, and if Andrade defeats him on Raw, Andrade can take his spot as the team captain at Survivor Series. However, he said it's not Monday Night Andrade, it's Monday Night Rollins, and he's going to burn it down. Hamp Connell with a $2 super chat says, it's safe to assume that Samoa Joe's career is over. I hope not, but he's been gone for a while and his momentum has definitely cooled off. However, I thought he did a good job on commentary tonight, although I do have to say, I still heard some WWE speak from Samoa Joe. He used that stupid head on a swivel line. I hate that line. And Corey Graves says it all the time, and pretty much every announcer says it, probably because it's a line fed to them by Vince. I am not a fan of that line, head on a swivel. If I was in charge of WWE, that line would be banned for life. It just bugs me. I never hear real people use that phrase, head on a swivel. Give me a break. Moving on here, we had Bob the Lash, also known as Bobby Lashley, versus No Entrance Jose. Lana cut a promo before the match saying that it's the happiest day of her life because she has filed for divorce from Rusev. Crowd started chanting Rusev Day, and then she also noted that when Russo, I always say that. I always say Russo. I always misspeak and say Russo because I feel like Vince Russo could do a better job of this storyline. Nice recovery by me. Now, Lana mentioned that Rusev arrived back in the United States and he was given a restraining order. Now, What was this restraining order, you ask? According to Lana, Rusev could not come within 90 miles of her. She then corrected herself and said he cannot come within 90 days of her. She corrected it a third time and said she was just so caught up in being there with Lashley that she kept misspeaking. 90 feet was the correct answer as to how much distance Rusev must keep from her. We had this match. Bobby Lashley won, basically a squash, picked up the victory with the full Nelson, and then afterwards, Lashley and Lana started making out. No Rusev on this show, but then again, their match is not booked for Survivor Series, so I suspect next week, after Survivor Series, Rusev will break that restraining order to set up a match between Rusev and Lashley at the upcoming TLC pay-per-view. We had Andrade versus Seth Rollins. Selena Vega came out and did a promo talking about how Andrade will take Rollins' spot and will lead Team Raw to victory at Survivor Series. Vega tried to get involved during the match. She got kicked out by the referee. Then we had a back and forth match between these two. Really good match. And I did have an issue, though. I'm watching this match and I'm thinking to myself, why do I not really care about this? They have the team captain spot on the line. I thought, you know what? It might be cool if Andrade actually beat Rollins as a big shocker and you could give him a push. But nope, did not happen. At the same time, Rollins did not win either. WWE went for the non-finish route, which was Lucha House Party, of all people, coming out, attacking Seth Rollins and then attacking Andrade. Rollins and Andrade fought the jobbers off, and then Rollins gave some props to Andrade. I thought for a moment they were going to just restart the match, which I think would have been pretty cool, but Rollins was like, you aren't half bad. And then he proceeded to walk away, and that was it. So, yeah, a little disappointing that there was no finish here, but I guess WWE didn't want to have Rollins lose, didn't want to have Andrade lose, so you got to come up with something. Next up, we had Buddy Murphy walking backstage. He knocked on Aleister Black's door and said he's there to pick a fight. There was no answer. I guess maybe Aleister Black was taking a shit backstage. I could say that, by the way, because this video is not labeled for kids. YouTube specifically asks me every video I post, is this a video directed towards kids? I put no. So I'm going to say shit, and I better not get demonetized because this video is not for kids. Anyways, Buddy Murphy walked off, and then Aleister Black opened the door and looked around. I thought that this was dumb. We had another Eric Rowan video with him talking to his cage, talking about how cute this mysterious entity is. We had Akira Tozawa versus Buddy Murphy. Good match. Problem with this was that crowd really did not care about these guys. Unfortunately, 205 Live does not matter, and crowd still sees these guys as two random 205 Live guys. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Good wrestling match, but don't really care about the characters. Buddy Murphy won, and then Buddy Murphy went backstage again to Aleister Black's door, and this time Aleister opened the door, and they had this confrontation, this stare down, and that was that. Eric Rowan came out with his cage, with the mystery entity under the blanket. Singh brothers ran out. They were running from R-Truth. Eric Rowan took them out, and then Rowan beat up all three guys, and that was this segment. Still no 24/7 title change. I really don't care, quite frankly. To me, the 24/7 title, as I've mentioned, has run its course, and I feel like it's time to let it fade off into the sunset. I mean, they've come up with nothing creative for it for the past month now. I mean, There's just nothing to it. Like, why even bother? Then we had Randy Orton interviewed. He said that he's the greatest superstar in Survivor Series history. Of course, Randy Orton's sole survivor several years and has that really good track record at Survivor Series. He heard the Viking Raiders are looking for a fight. And he said that he'll be there with a partner of his choosing that will benefit him. Next up, we had Kevin Owens versus Drew McIntyre. Samoa Joe on commentary questioning, why are these guys fighting when they're on the same team? They're representing Raw. Why have them fight? They had a great match. Lots of big moves. Kevin Owens almost got counted out. Lots of kickouts. Drew McIntyre kicked out of the pop-up powerbomb. Drew hit the Claymore, but Owens got his feet on the ropes. And then Owens hit the stunner. Drew McIntyre got to the ropes. And then Owens hit a second stunner. And that's when Triple H just randomly showed up. Commercial break. When we came back from the break, the match was over. I was fine the first time. Seth Rollins, Andrade, we had a non-finish. I get it. But you did it a second time on this show. 2 times. You have this big, long match. You expect people to get emotionally invested in the match. And then you do a non-finish. Why should I care about these matches if I know it's just going to end with a non-finish? Like, I think it's a bad idea to do this multiple times on one show. If you do one, then I get it and it makes sense, fine. But you do it more than once. And guess what? This wasn't even the last time on this show. I'll get to that here in a few minutes. The Game is on 100 with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. He says, I knew the non-finishes tonight for Rollins, Andrade, Owens, McIntyre, Orton, Ricochet versus Raiders. Totally obvious. I mean, I was surprised we had this many on this show. I mean, I always expect at least one on Raw, but when you do 3 on one show, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But anyways, thank you for that super chat. I do appreciate it. Triple H cut this really good promo because Triple H knows how to do this. This is his thing. He got a water bottle for Kevin Owens. The NXT guys were at ringside. He brought up how Owens was the guy that put NXT on the map. And he was the guy that beat up his best friend Sami Zayn to become NXT World Champion, beat John Cena on his first night, and brought up how he just has been neglected by the figureheads on the main roster. Kurt Angle fired him, Shane McMahon fired him, and Triple H said Kevin Owens belongs with NXT because he doesn't fit the damn mold. And then Triple H added that the guys in the back in the Raw locker room, they do not give a damn about KO. That's when we had the Raw guys run out. They jumped the NXT guys, and then we had the Undisputed Era attack Kevin Owens. Triple H did not appear very amused by the Undisputed Era attacking Owens. So I wonder if there's going to be a follow-up to that. There wasn't any on this show, but we still have 2 more shows until Survivor Series. We'll see if there's some kind of follow-up with that. OC came out and made the save for Kevin Owens, and that was the end of the segment. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, who is most likely to join NXT at Survivor Series? Good question. There was a report out that Triple H was being considered for the role. And some people don't really like that idea of Triple H being on the NXT team. I mean, it could be any number of guys. You could have somebody as a total surprise be in there, somebody you're not expecting. So what do you guys think in the chat room? Who would you like to see fill out these last remaining spots for Survivor Series? JSpin401 feels that NXT will lose at Survivor Series. Mr. Anderson says CM Punk. That would be crazy. I would not object to that. Just saying. We had AJ Styles versus Humberto for the United States Championship announced for next week's show. Humberto cut a promo, said he's happy and excited for the opportunity. And then we had a Paul Heyman backstage interview promo segment. Heyman brought up the history between Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. He said there's a rumor that Brock Lesnar is not 100%. However, Heyman vowed that Brock will show up 100% at the pay-per-view, and then added that this match between Lesnar and Mysterio at Survivor Series will be no holds barred, no DQ, my style here. He says one of two things will happen. Either it will be a miracle, Rey Mysterio wins, or it will be a massacre. And we will all find out together at Survivor Series. My money is on a massacre. Just saying. Harley says Brock versus Rey Mysterio ends in DQ. Yeah. Or they come up with... No, it's Rey Mysterio, guys. Rey's going to get beat. I've seen some people say that maybe Dominic turns heel against Rey. I don't think that's going to happen because I feel like WWE's building up to a tag team match with them. I just think Rey's going to get beat. He'll put up a good fight, maybe a better fight than Kane did, but yeah, I don't see Rey Mysterio coming out on top for this one. Anyways, Rey cut this promo and he praised Humberto, said he's proud of him and happy for his success. Rey showed off his pipe and said that will be with him in Chicago, and said he is coming there for the WWE Championship. And best of luck to Rey Mysterio. As Kayfabe Candy Ass says, it'll be a very game Rey Mysterio, most likely. Mike D with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike D. He says, if Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar goes on last, I have a feeling CM Punk gets involved either during or after the match. Yeah, if that match goes on last, I could definitely see that as a possibility. Like, I would be very suspicious if Mysterio and Lesnar goes on last, but I'm still not going to get my hopes up that CM Punk will be on that show. It would be amazing if he did show up in Chicago, but yeah, not gonna get too excited about that, because every time you get your hopes up, you know, it just doesn't happen. So I'd rather not expect it or not hope for it, and it happens. We had Asuka versus Natalya. Pretty standard stuff here. Kairi Sane got involved. Asuka won with the Asuka kick. I mean, just not much else to say about it. And then we had the main event, Randy Orton and Ricochet, and there was this tease about who Randy Orton's partner was going to be, and I'm like, well, it's going to be Ricochet. He hasn't been on the entire show, plus they had that angle from last week, and then Ricochet came out, and I kid you not, Vic Joseph was like, he was like, well, this is unexpected. I mean, he said it in the most deadpan way possible, and I was just laughing my ass off. Caleb Jacobs says, happy birthday, Aaron. Not my birthday yet, but thank you, Caleb. My birthday is this Friday, and I will be doing the live stream, no day off. So make sure you guys tune in on Friday. Wish me happy birthday then. Power Packers 90 with a $2 super chat says, my coworkers are only going to Survivor Series for CM Punk. Well, they are probably going to be disappointed if they're going to the show for CM Punk. Just saying. And my man, Ken, terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ken. Says, Rift, why are people thinking that CM Punk will compete? I wouldn't mind Punk as a broadcaster like Graves. Does he want to deal with the doctor again? Well, the thing is, people are going to want to see CM Punk wrestle. I mean, he's there and you just want to see it. You want to see him do more than just talk, especially if he can wrestle. You want to see him wrestle again. There's a lot of dream matches you can see with CM Punk. People just want to see it naturally. So yeah, ultimately that's what people want. Like, they're happy to see him back, but they want to see him get back in the ring. They want to see him make a comeback. You know, they want that comeback story. And we got Monfile9 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Monfile9 says, now that CM Punk is around, the shows feel less interested. I just can't wait to see him show up. Well, I'll tell you what, I am definitely interested in seeing what CM Punk has to say on Backstage. I'm curious to see if he goes on there with no filter, if he trashes the Rusev-Lana storyline. I want to see if he's critical. I'm really curious to see what he says about Raw and his critique of the show. Because that was the whole thing, that he would get to do his own thing and he would have his own say and not be censored by WWE, since he is working for Fox after all. Wink, wink. Let's see here. Oh, and just wanted to give a shout out to Anthony, whose birthday is also on Friday, so happy early birthday to you as well. Also the day that Kennedy was assassinated. So we had the main event match, and during the match, we had the SmackDown guys attack the Raw guys backstage. Randy Orton was going for the RKO, and then all of a sudden, SmackDown guys ran down, match was thrown out. Third big match of the evening that was ended in a non-finish. You had Orton, Ricochet, and the Viking Raiders take out the SmackDown guys. Then we had the NXT guys come out. They beat up the SmackDown guys, so the SmackDown guys looking like total fools here. We had a face-off between Raw and NXT. More NXT guys came out. Keith Lee, and I think Matt Riddle was out there. You know, the big guns came out. Randy Orton started hitting RKOs, and then the ring just got filled up with a bunch of people. Rollins came out. The rest of Raw ran down. It was pure chaos, although I gotta say AEW did a better job of doing this wild brawl. Like, one thing I like that AEW does, and also WCW did it, was the bell ringing constantly. Like, I love that. Like, that was an old WCW gimmick, and I think that even goes back before, into the 80s, maybe even before that. But I love that gimmick with the bell ringing constantly. It just feels like things are totally out of control. The problem with this is that it felt so manufactured. Like, it just feels staged, choreographed, doesn't feel like a crazy brawl, like things are out of control. At least to me, it felt very manufactured. Then Triple H cut this final promo. He said that in 6 days, NXT will finish this and prove that they are the A brand of WWE. And then, to build up hype for Wednesday, Triple H said that anybody from Raw and SmackDown can show up on NXT. The doors are wide open. And that was the end of this week's Monday Night Raw. Will we see some interesting characters show up? Will we see NXT finally beat AEW? I mean, if they're going to do it, this will be the week, because we could see Seth Rollins show up. We could see Roman Reigns show up, perhaps. I don't know if WWE is going to do that or not, but you would think that if there was ever a week where AEW might lose, this will be the week. If they don't win this week, NXT, then I don't know if there's anything that they could do to win, quite frankly. So that was Raw. What would you guys say was the spot of the night? What would you say was the cringy moment of the night? And what would you say was the line of the night? Curious to know what you guys think. I'm trying to think what would be my cringiest moment of the night. That's a tough one. But I think the line of the night has to be Triple H saying that the doors are wide open for NXT, building up Wednesday. Cringiest moment would probably be Lana screwing up her promo with the 90 miles and then 90 days and then 90 feet. That would be the cringiest line of the night, I should say. And let's go ahead and do the letter grade for tonight's show. I'm not even sure if I have a spot of the night. Quite frankly, I don't remember a lot of the stuff that happened on this show. Like there wasn't any one thing that really stood out to me as like a crazy holy shit moment. So letter grade, I mean, it was okay. I'm gonna give it a C plus. Joseph gives it a D minus. Harley with a C minus. Tom with a D. Mr. Anderson with a B. Ryan with a C minus, very boring. Power Packers 90 with a D minus. Calvin Bowman with a B plus. Shady Snake with an F minus. CC Drink with a B. The Game Is On 100 with a C. Kev Dog with a C. Michael Wayne with a C. And Tic Tat Tat with a C. Jeremy Dorset with a C minus. So mixed bag this week. Lots of C's I'm seeing. You know, it didn't really do a whole lot to make me excited for Sunday, but we still got 2 more shows. We got NXT on Wednesday, and then we also have the SmackDown show in Chicago, which should be pretty good, hopefully. Ken, terminated by Google with a $5 super chat, says, doesn't that POS piece of shit, Vince McMahon, own the copyrights of WCW? I wonder how AEW is able to use the WCW brand. By the way, just seeing if Rick will drop the S-bomb. Well, you got it, my friend. So regarding the Bash at the Beach, which is what you're talking about, it's a trademark. And WWE let several of the trademarks expire. And what Cody did was he took advantage of it. He registered several of the trademarks. I believe he also registered Bunkhouse Stampede and I think Battle Bowl. There were a couple of them that he trademarked, and one of those was Bash at the Beach. So AEW now owns that trademark. Now, what does that mean exactly? So WWE can still promote Bash at the Beach, the pay-per-views on the network and whatever, but WWE would have to go through AEW if they wanted to do a new event called Bash at the Beach, since AEW now owns the trademark. So hopefully that clears things up for you guys that were wondering about that. Monfile9 with a $5 super chat says, the cringy moment of the night was Samoa Joe showing up in a women's segment. Yeah, that was quite random, I have to say. Oh, and now that I think about it, so my spot of the night was that RKO that Randy Orton did. Really good sell job there. Although I don't remember who was the guy that took the sell, but I remember that the RKO looked pretty vicious. So that would be my spot of the night. Although I don't even remember who took the RKO. Maybe somebody in the chat room can let me know. Yeah, basically, as Power Packers 90 is saying, Cody got the trademark, and those were Dusty's ideas that he wanted to trademark. I know some people don't like it, think, well, you know, they're just doing the whole copying WCW thing by using Bash at the Beach. But, you know, Cody wants to keep his father's legacy going. So, you know, we'll probably get a Bunkhouse Stampede at some point and a Battle Bowl and all that stuff. And I think it's fine. What's weird to me is that they're doing Bash at the Beach. Granted, it is in Miami, but they're doing it in January. Now, I get it because the next week they're doing the Jericho Cruise and they're going to have AEW on the cruise ship. I'm really looking forward to that one, and I hope somebody gets body slammed into the pool. I hope they do like some kind of big high spot into the pool, just like back in WCW when they did the spring break shows and somebody would always get thrown into the pool. I want to see that on this Jericho Cruise. I'm really looking forward to that Dynamite. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope AEW does more of that, more of these shows where they're on location. Tom Huxley says, Bash at the Beach in January when it snows, LOL. Well, it doesn't snow in most of Florida, so, you know, they still get 70 degrees pretty much year-round. Michigan, not so much. Michigan, you already have 30-degree weather in early November. So there you go. All right, guys, on that note, I will go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting. I will be back Wednesday night to discuss AEW and NXT. Going to be a fun live stream. And then Friday night, my birthday, I'll be back to talk about SmackDown. Predictions will probably be up Thursday night. So stay tuned for all that, and I will see you guys next time.